Right everyone, how are we all doing? So this is a update on the Believer. A few people have been asking, so where have I got to, what's going on with it? The original build videos you'll see there somewhere. So yeah, just a quick update on the Believer. Have I flown it yet? No. So, I actually had a problem with my Herelink, and my Herelink needed an update. The firmware update has been a bit... I tried it on my PC, I tried it on my Mac, it was a driver issue. Basically I needed to put the SDK pack on here, I still couldn't get it to work. Windows 10 infuriates me and the way its drivers work, to be clear. So I took it to Ben at 3DXR, so this is a big thank you to Ben at 3DXR. He updated this. It took it an hour to do it, but we got it sorted. But Ben also gave me some hints and tips on the Believer, which was great. So what Ben did for me was, Ben gave me a carbon infill here that goes right in the base, sits above the battery compartment, above the battery tray and Velcro, carbon plate to go in. He's got some foam padding that he makes up to go in the side to stop the batteries sloshing about and moving, which is great. These things are bricks. And speaking of these batteries, I was very fortunate enough to find Sussex Model Centre are doing the Overlander packs, 6S, 1600 milliamps for £150 each. Now that is a bargain. Okay, these batteries are not cheap. So he says, as he reaches in to try and put the battery back in here, because it is, as you can tell, a brick. Right, so the battery goes in the front. Now, other modifications that have been made to the Believer because of Ben at 3DXR. He said, do this, do that. So what else I have done is the airspeed sensor, the pitot tube, the airspeed sensor, I have blocked off one of the tubes, and one comes from the airspeed sensor, comes down, goes into the airspeed sensor, tells you the airspeed. The other one is the static air, and that, the pipe has been cut, it goes into a block of foam that air can pass through, and it just sits there for static, and that gives static cabin air pressure. Okay. Now, really important as well, these two holes at the front here, so I'm sure you can see them here and here, they will have to be blocked up or taped over. I cannot have an airflow coming in this way because it could upset that static reading. So tape will go over there, although I've got a camera coming from Banggood to go here. So it may be just a case of this hole will get blocked up. We've then come backwards, we've got the Herelink antenna, there's one here on the side here, there's one in the bottom here, side on, so they're at 90 degrees to each other. I will actually connect the power. I'll quickly show you something as well, which I like about the Herelink mission planner. He says, so that's just going to power up. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to get the Herelink. Let me just go up to the settings. Ooh. What I'm going to do is create a hotspot on the Herelink. He says that's what I want to do. Is that going to do it? Is that? Can I? Hotspot, that's what I want. I'm pressing it. Right, hotspot. Tech Herelink and portable hotspot. We'll turn on portable Wi-Fi hotspot for the Herelink. So that's now switched on. It's got its hotspot. That should work. We'll come back out of that. We'll load up. Q ground control is on the Herelink. There you go. It's getting its information from the aircraft now. So you can just see it's downloading its full parameters. So that's what it's doing at the minute on the Herelink. However, this is a very small screen, and you want to monitor an aircraft that's cruising through the sky, and it's going to give you everything you need, but yeah, what we really want is we want to be able to see everything on a bigger screen. So what we're going to do is disconnect from my internet at home, There's a believer belly, so I have a connection there, and I'm going to connect. And look, we've got parameters coming in now. Look at that. So mission planner's already been in the background. We'll bring up mission planner, okay? And look at that, we're starting to get mission planner on the laptop is now booting up. And that basically means that I've now got 2 screens of information. And that's fantastic. I expect that map to move about a bit as the GPS might lock in. I am in a building, so it's not right at the minute. Yeah, it's moving about on here as well. It's trying to find its way home. GPS is slowly kicking in. But what this means is, when I'm out in the field and I'm operating, I can have the client and myself watching this, or we'll be watching on the so I can have the Herelink, and I can have that to show me what's going on. That's a bigger, clearer, crisper picture, and will allow me to see what's going on. I have done the throttle adjustment on the Herelink, so Ian, Mad RC, or Mad Tech Live, go and look at it. I'll put a link in the description to his video on how to do the throttle mod. I didn't follow it fully, completely, sorry Ian. I didn't take it all completely to bits. I managed to leave the ribbon cable in place when I did mine. Now, also interesting, flight modes. So, there are on the buttons here, A, B, C and D have flight modes. Now, you can have short press, long press. So short press on this, he says short press.
Unknown flight mode.
Now, it says unknown flight mode. What that is because Q ground control doesn't know the launch parameter, launch flight mode for the Believer, because it's using an RV Pilot firmware. So this is a shake and start, so you shake it and you chuck it. It doesn't understand that flight mode. But I know that if I press the A button, it will do that. What I have done is I have written a flight reference card so that I can then have it with the aircraft. It'll go in the aircraft, take it out, I can stick it on here just so I know. However, you can also go to actions and you can do things like loiter and bits. You can issue commands from the laptop. Now, so I have B, and B is...
Return to launch flight mode.
It says return to launch, it's not. B is actually auto. So I have short press is for my takeoff flight mode. My long press is for fixed wing stabilised flight mode. B is auto, but here Q ground control doesn't understand the RV Pilot command. Hopefully that's going to get fixed in the next update. So it'll say, it says RTL, but it's not. Then we've got
Loiter flight mode.
I've got loiter flight mode. So when it's in the mission, loiter basically means with RV Pilot, the aircraft's just going to do 100 metre wide circles. So if you had another aircraft that's coming along towards you, and you was about to fly this way towards it, so the plane's coming this way, you're going this way, you put yourself in a circle here, you let the plane pass if you think there's a risk, and then you can continue your mission. Okay? And then return to launch, or RTH, I have set up on 2 buttons on this. I have it on the little homey button, and I have it on D. So D,
return to launch flight mode.
return to launch.
Enable to start landing sequence.
The reason why it can't start landing sequence is because I don't have a mission programmed into it. It would just literally come back to its home point and just circle above it, actually, is what it would do. And then the home button, again, the little house, it'll say the same thing. Will it? It says. It might not because...
Loiter flight mode.
Yeah. No, it's not playing ball.
Return to launch flight mode. Unable to start landing sequence.
So you get verbal from the laptop and from the Herelink. I'm sure I set that up. I'll be checking that button later in the settings. So if I go to setup or config, we should be able to see my flight modes. He says, it's in setup. He says, mandatory optional hardware advanced. No. Flight modes. So here's the actual flight modes, what it's actually going to do. So when I press the A button, I've got fixed wing flight mode there. Press it again.
Unknown flight mode.
So you're saying unknown flight mode, but the aircraft knows it's takeoff mode. Okay. B.
Return to launch flight mode.
Says return to launch, but it actually comes up as auto on here. Okay. C.
Loiter flight mode.
Is loiter flight mode. And then finally,
return to launch flight mode. Unable to start landing sequence.
and that again because it's not got the mission to come back into land. But that's the Herelink. So the Believer, technically, it's ready to go for its first chug with the new firmware updates. I've been putting some in from Phil, who kind of got in touch with me. His settings and my settings are basically the same, apart from the throw. He's got a take-off timeout. I'm going to try that in the garden when it's not windy. And basically, when you shake to start, the throttle delay, if I don't let go of the aircraft and hold on to it for 7 seconds, it should just cut the motors. That's the plan. Take-off altitude, you throw it, it goes to 50 metres and just starts circling until you engage another flight mode. Okay, it has a slow ramp upon the motors. They don't go from 0 to full chat straight away, so it gives you a chance. You always launch into the wind with a fixed wing, no matter what. Okay, and you can see the size of this one on the bench, but I have one here as well. So this is actually how big a Believer is when it's put together. Okay, if it gets all in the thing. But that is actually how big it is when it's all together. This one has got the orange cube, that one's got the black cube, this one can avoid other aircrafts, there's an air ambulance, and it's got ADSB fitted. This aircraft, this one, will avoid it automatically. I have got a ping ADSB receiver that I can plug into the laptop, so I can see other aircraft on that. But yeah, it's a great little bit of kit. Looking forward to flying it soon as we get a break in the weather. Today we've got 40 mile-an-hour winds, tomorrow 40 mile-an-hour winds, weekend, who knows. Camera or payload options, it'll carry a kilo. So this thing can carry a kilo and it'll carry it for about 160 kilometres, 80k out, 80k back if you want to. Not legal in the UK, you wouldn't do that here. In the UK, if you fly in the A3 open category and you've got commercial insurance, it's as far as you can see it to avoid other aircraft. So the Believer is big enough, you'd see this out to like 1.2 to 1.5 kilometres on a good day, if the weather conditions are right. So this is great for this aircraft. Okay, if you fly under your CA authorisation, PDR 01, you're actually screwed because you only get 500 metres one way, 500 metres the other. And because of the way the aircraft needs a lead in to do its mapping of 150 metres and 150 metres, you lose 300 metres straight away. So you get to 700 metre block, you can fly. So that's why the PDRAs, they're built around small aircraft and multirotors, you know, in my opinion, which is nothing, by the way. In my opinion, doesn't mean squat. Yeah, so these things can just cruise. They're really good. Wind speeds it'll handle 24 mile-an-hour winds, 30. Its cruising speed is about 17 to 18 metres a second. Okay, and its landing speed is about 11 metres a second. Once you go below that, you don't want to do any sharp turns because you get into the stall area and we don't want to be there. What else is there? I need a Herelink receiver for that. It just means I've got to bind differently every time, which, to be honest, if I install like I have in this one, it shouldn't be too much hassle. What else is there, he says? That's kind of it, really. Oh yeah, one last thing. So what I have done is I've gone to the website as per the instructions from your Ardo Pilot wiki pages. and I have downloaded the entire UK's elevation map. So this can terrain follow. So if I tell it to be above a certain point at 120 metres relative to the surface of the Earth, this will do it. So even if there's a valley, this will actually fly the valley. Although if you fly in a valley, you don't want to be flying across it. You actually want to be flying that way. You want to be flying, so here's the hill. You won't fly along and down like that. You'd actually fly along its edge, because that would be the better way to do it. The wind might be a bit of a niggle, because you don't tend to get the winds coming over the top, could be a problem, but it would be the better way to fly it. What else is there? I think that's about it. I need a 3D printer because I've got a couple of bits I need to print. I need to print something for the hole underneath, something to hold the GPS better. But yeah, other than that, that's the Believer update, everyone. Right, safe flying, take care. A big shout out to Bennett 3DXR, a big shout out to Phil Hunter as well for his settings that I've checked against as well. They were great. I didn't actually have the throttle timeout setting. And thanks for that, Phil, although our settings were pretty much the same. Safe flying, guys. It's not always about multi-rotors, okay? So take care.